Let's get the party started. So I'm going to share with you tonight how to approach, follow up, and close more cold market prospects, cold market recruiting mastery. We're going to have a lot of fun. And again, this is a new training. This is our very first time rolling it out, and I think you're absolutely going to love it. So a couple questions for you, kind of set the mood. And at this point, feel free to type into the webinar and when I'm hitting you with questions. And keep in mind, there's a lot of people on this webinar, so don't feel bad if I don't see your comment or question. But I just got a couple questions just to set the mood. How would you feel if you knew exactly how to approach and what to say to and when to any stranger you ever meet? How would that feel? Would that be neat? Would that be cool? I see unstoppable, confident. Laura says empowered. Sherry says great. Mary says awesome. Peggy, empowered. I see a couple empowered tonight. I like it. Very confident, awesome. Just what I need. Uplifting, like Wonder Woman, says Emily. Very cool. Completely confident, awesome. Booyah, says Solomon. Very nice. Fearless, bulletproof. Very cool. Man, you guys are fired up. How would you feel if you knew you had the skill to be placed anywhere in the world and you could build your business? Like, what if you knew that? What if you, for some reason, your spouse says, hey, can we go to Australia? Can we go to Saskatchewan? Can we go to Boston? Can we go to Fort Myers, Florida? And you, without hesitation, you think, let's see, yeah, I could go there and build a business. How cool would that be? Because that's what I'm going to equip you with tonight. I'm going to equip you with that kind of confidence. And I want you to really embrace that I'm focusing on you where you are. You do not have to have a humongous amount of results to do what I'm going to share with you here tonight. So I'm excited. You guys are fired up. Man, what a great crowd. What are we at now? Let me take a look. Over 600 people on here right now. I know we're going to add more. We always do. So let's have some fun. So a little bit about me. For those of you, I like asking this question. How many of you, this is your very first training you've ever been on with me? Feel free to raise your hand. All right, I'm seeing a couple. I'm seeing a few. There's always a few. There are some people that have been with me throughout my entire journey. They've been on webinars with me for the last 6 years, and there's always a few people on here that they're like, this is my first time ever hearing of you, so it's pretty cool. I'm going to share very quickly. We're not going to spend a lot of time around this, but very quickly, I just want to share with you a little bit about me. I always, since as long as I can remember, I always felt like I was meant for something big. I always felt like, something, I don't know, I felt like I was just meant to do something big, and I didn't know what that meant. Anyone else feel that way? Darlene says yes. Awesome. Cool. Curtis, of course. Yeah, man. Billy, Megan. I just always had that feeling, and I think that's one of the things that it kept me from ever settling. I've had different scenarios in my life where I could have settled, and I just didn't. And I just always had this feeling like, man, I'm meant to make a difference. I'm meant to do something. And I believe that should be for all of us. There should be no one that says, nope, not me, Ray. I mean, it really should. Every single one. If you have blood pumping through your veins, you should feel like you were meant for something big. You were meant for something great. Didn't have the greatest childhood. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time around it, but my parents were divorced when I was very young. I'm sure many of you can relate to that. My dad remarried someone who was abusive, and so I dealt with that. And I dealt with that till the age of 12, where I was given the option of where to move, and I came to my mom's house down in Florida, and that's where I was able to get a little bit of freedom there from my past childhood. And then, of course, with freedom sometimes comes shenanigans. So about the age of 16, maybe 17, I moved out of my parents' house, moved into a party house. So I was in high school. The last part of my junior year and my senior year, I lived in a party house. And shenanigans and not the greatest crowd, and I certainly shouldn't blame the crowd. because I was a very much part of that crowd. So, there are no excuses. I make no bones about it. I did a lot of stupid things in high school. Hung out with, people that were at the time just like me. And my superlative was party animal, which is kind of surprising that I even got a superlative because I didn't finish high school on time. I'm the guy that took 5 years. I'm the guy that went back and took, I forget what they call it. It was, what do they call it? It starts with an R, like a remediation or something. It's something terrible. And I went back because I failed English in high school. Here we are, a 2-time best-selling author that failed English in high school. All right, so things weren't that great, but they started to turn around. When I decided to stop hanging around with that crowd and I decided to change my life, I worked my way up the corporate world just to realize that that's not what I wanted to do. I spent more time with pictures of my kids than the real thing, and I looked at my boss, I looked at his boss, I looked at her boss. I didn't want any of those jobs. And I saw stress, I saw lack of freedom, I saw, unhappiness. I didn't want any of that stuff. And so I actually started my own traditional business. I went out on my own, I took the big leap, and it worked for a little bit until it didn't. And in 2009, I was in personal foreclosure. I was dead broke. I had bill collectors calling me nonstop. I had a girlfriend that was paying my utility bills. She was working at the Nordstrom makeup counter. Fortunately, that woman stood by my side, and she's now my beautiful wife. And so I'm very, very blessed and very grateful that she stood by my side. That's for sure. And things weren't easy in 2009. And I'm sharing this stuff with you because I just want you to realize that you don't have to be born with a silver spoon. You don't have to have a perfect history. You don't have to have some of the background that you may think that you need to have success, because I believe I lacked a lot of things that I think most people would look at and say, oh man, that person's not going to succeed. But since then, been able to turn things around. Okay, when I decided to get serious about network marketing back in 2009, I used online, offline, cold market, warm market. I used every strategy known to mankind. Hit my first $10,000 month. Then I had my first $50,000 month, and we actually did end up becoming the #1 income earner in our last company, earning over $1 million in commissions. It was pretty neat to go from a $19,000 a year income to multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars the next year, and pretty cool. Next month, I'm very, very blessed, very honored. I'll actually be sharing the stage with some of my absolute heroes, some of the people that helped me get through the tough times. Tony Robbins. I'll be sharing the stage with Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Of course, my buddy Eric Worre, Bob Proctor, and a whole host of other people. And I believe that event will have 10 to 12,000 people there. And the reason that I share this stuff with you guys is just to realize that you may be in a tough spot. And maybe your situations, maybe everything that you're going through, maybe you're 10 times worse than I was, okay? I'm not professing to say I had it worse than anyone else. I'm not saying that, okay? I didn't have it great. I don't think anyone would argue, no, Ray, you had it really easy being in foreclosure and going through child abuse and failing high school. I don't think anyone would say I had it easy, but I'm also not professing that I had it the worst, that I had the worst story, because I'm sure if I go toe-to-toe with some of your stories, you guys could, beat me into submission. What I really want you to get, though, is all of that stuff that has happened in your past has nothing to do with your future. You can choose right now to create massive success. You can. It does not have to be, there isn't a, well, only if your history is like this, only if your current circumstances are like this. That's all baloney, all right? You can create success from where you are by deciding to, and then putting time, effort, possibly investing into your education. You can turn your life around. And I applaud you for being on this webinar because I'm going to show you some strategies that flat out work. And these are strategies that absolutely work and will help you convert more customers into your business, more reps into your business, and help you build a lifestyle that you truly love. So now we are very blessed. We have a life, we have a team, we have clients, we have students that we absolutely love. There isn't a day that I can remember that we didn't get at least one testimonial from somebody somewhere. And you know, that's something that I wanted to create a life that moved me, that inspired my kids, that was something that I could look back on and be proud of. And you know, and that's we're still growing. You know, we're certainly not done. We're still growing. We're still doing, you know, a lot of activity. But I can tell you that the way that I feel about the impact we make on this planet and in this profession is amazing. And I hope that someday you feel that. Okay. I want you to understand you have the power to go from wherever you are currently to anywhere that you want to go. And the acceptance that it's possible, that is the most important thing for you. You have to suspend your disbelief. You have to believe that you do have the ability to go from wherever you are currently to anywhere that you want to go. Anywhere. Okay? I really want you to get that. So, who's ready to play big? Let me see. Ray says, I'm pumped up. Trudy is excited. I'm seeing, all right. Darlene, ready. Laura, yes. Christy, hey, what's up, Christy? Lots of people. All right, let's do it. All right, so tonight I'm going to share my fave cold market prospecting strategies. Now I'm going to go into a little distinction with some of these prospecting strategies that I've never done before. Okay, but where I'm really going to dive deep is into follow-up. Does anyone need help with follow-up? You know, I see a lot of companies and I see a lot of trainers, they teach you icebreakers, they teach you how to approach people, they teach you prospecting methods, but they don't even talk about follow-up. I don't understand it. So I'm going to dive deeper than I've ever dove before into follow-up, because I think that's one of the big areas that people need a lot of help. Okay, I am going to share with you, before we get to the Q&A session, I'm going to share with you my favorite resource for you that we've put together, and we do have a little special. We have a webinar special for you here tonight, and then we're going to go into Q&A, where I'm going to answer any questions that you may have. I'm going to stick around as long as I possibly can to answer any of your questions. Now, I will tell you, I encourage, there's going to be times throughout this presentation where I'm asking for, you know, feedback. I'm going to ask you different questions. I'd love for you to play big and really, participate. As far as questions, save the questions till the end, because I am going to go through your questions and I want to make sure I answer as many as I possibly can. I typically stay on for as long as I can to answer questions from you guys, and I want to help you out as much as possible. All right, so first of all, something I should cover, what are the benefits of cold market? Here I am talking about cold market, and you know, cold market, guys, we define as people that you don't know. Cold market, right? Warm market would be friends, maybe family members, people that know you, you know them. Cold market is people that you don't know. Yeah, and maybe it's someone that you've seen at the coffee shop a million times, but you've never taken the chance to, talk to them. That would be cold market. All right, but we need to cover why cold market, because there are, believe it or not, there are people, there are leaders. I use that term loosely. There are companies that tell you cold market bad. Right? That's my best Frankenstein impression there. Fire bad. Right? Cold market, bad. Well, here's the problem. If you bash cold market, you're really going to limit who can possibly have success in your network marketing team. Because, just like my buddy Eric says, Eric Worre, he says, when you come into network marketing, you're either punished or rewarded for the life that you've led prior to joining network marketing. And there are a lot of people that they come into network marketing without a great warm market. So if you tell them cold market bad, then they're going to be stuck like Chuck, and they're going to be, well, who do I talk to? My warm market throws rocks at me. My warm market can't stand me. What do I do here? And if you tell them cold market bad, then you're tying their hands. And let me tell you, I have people in my team, and I've talked to leaders over the years that have built empires from cold market. So first of all, I don't believe that cold market is the only way, just like I don't believe warm market is the only way. But here are some benefits of cold market. It's never ending. Never ending. I assure you, even if you're the Pope, even if you're the president, even if you're the king, okay, there are more people you don't know than you do. Doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter. You're always 100% of the time going to know fewer people than you do know. All right? In any town, I don't care the size of the town, anywhere, you're always going to know fewer people than you actually do know. So learning cold market is never ending. Now, maybe you're on here and you're like, Ray, my warm market loves me. They'll buy anything I ever tell them. And I mean, they just send me birthday cakes and, I'm just amazing. I'm a celebrity to my warm market, Ray. Well, fine. Good for you. Congratulations. That's impressive. I think you're amazing. I just want to ask you this question. Might you ever recruit someone who doesn't have as amazing of a warm market as you do? And the answer is, if you're being honest, of course. Of course. And maybe it's not even your personal recruits. Maybe every personal recruit you ever bring into your business, maybe they're also an amazing warm market. Okay? I assure you, at some point in your team, there's going to be someone that doesn't have an amazing warm market. That's why we teach cold market. Number two, they don't know your history. I don't care if you failed in 42 different network marketing companies. I don't care if you've, in the last 16 months, you've been a part of 16 different juice companies or skincare companies or whatever. You fill in the blank, all right? Cold market doesn't know. They have no idea. They don't say, wait a minute, I've never met you, but you seem to me like you've been in a lot of network marketing companies. Is that correct? No one ever says that. They don't know your history. So you don't have to deal with the baggage that they have of how they see you. Let's be honest. Some of our warm market, they see us in a certain light. And it's a light that we always have to overcome if we're going to talk to them. Cold market doesn't have that light. They don't know what to think of you. They don't know your history. That can be a big advantage. And it gives you easy practice. Okay? Now, why would I say that? Because I want to take the pressure off you. Take some pressure off of yourself. Some of you are so hard on yourself, and I just want to encourage you, learn some of the basics tonight, and some of you may want to dive deep and really get serious about it, but take some pressure off yourself. Don't beat yourself up so much, okay? A lot of this cold market people, you rarely will you ever have to see them or talk to them ever again, if you don't want to, okay? If you don't want to. So those are just some of the benefits of cold market, certainly not all of them. So I'm going to talk about prospecting. Prospecting, and this is where you probably want to start taking notes here, guys. If you are cold calling, my suggestion to you is go for fast disqualification. And I was on a team call today with one of my buddies, Tyson, and someone was asking, hey, I want to call realtors. What's your suggestion? And I said, my suggestion is go for fast disqualification. Now, what's the alternative? The alternative is to try to close every person you ever talk to on a cold call. I can assure you, at the end of that day, you will want to shower. You will literally ache in your back. You will feel like you have fought 12 tigers. That's going to be a rough day for you. I'm just letting you know. Cold calling, go for fast disqualification. And it isn't just me saying that. I was able to spend a little bit of actually personal time with a gentleman named Jordan Belfort. Jordan Belfort is, you probably know him as his other name, the Wolf of Wall Street, right? And I'm certainly not condoning, Jordan for his past actions, and you may have your own, belief system around, who he is and whatever else. What you can't deny is the guy's an amazing cold calling trainer. He trained people who hadn't even finished high school how to make millions of dollars over the phone and talking to strangers they had never met and would never meet and get millions of dollars over the phone. Okay, so you just can't doubt whether you feel about him ethically. I get it. I'm right there with you. High five. Okay, but you can't deny his ability to train people in cold calling. And I spent some time with him, and he said, when you're cold calling, go for fast disqualification. So it's about numbers. It's about speed. It's about numbers. It's about speed. Now notice, I'm not saying face-to-face here. I'm saying cold calling. This means, maybe I'm driving down the road, I see a realtor sign, and I call it. Or I Google in my area, Estero Realtors or Fort Myers Realtors or Southwest Florida Realtors, and I'm just cold calling, boom, 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 boom. I'm not saying that it has to be realtors. I'm saying it could be any list. I could go and buy a list. I could go buy a list from a list broker and say, hey, give me the name of all the small business owners in my area. I could get that list, and I could call them. Okay, you can too. But if I'm going to, go for fast disqualification. And I'm going to share with you in detail here in a second. Offline, I'm going to share, and I've shared this before, so I'm going to quickly go through the offline stranger part. Many of you have seen it, some of you have not, so I do want to cover it. And then we're going to get into some serious follow-up. All right, so cold calling. Let me explain. So cold calling. There's a great story, okay? And cold calling, I mean, it really could be door to door. I'm more talking about cold calling over the phone, but it could be door to door. I've done that, believe it or not. It's not my favorite for sure, but I do want to refer to a story that's inside the book Go for No. Now, how many of you have read the book Go for No? I'm just curious. Any of you? Have a few of you? I've mentioned it my entire career. My entire career, I've talked about the Go for No book by Andrea and Richard Waltz. Okay, but Go for No, great book, and it really helped me in my career. But they did that. They have a story in there about door-to-door salesmen of insurance. Okay, so what happens is they took this group of door-to-door insurance salesmen. Can you imagine a less appealing job? I mean, let's be honest here, right? Door-to-door insurance salesman. Ugh. I mean, it just sounds terrible to me. It really does. Nothing against insurance. I'm a big fan of insurance, actually. But, door-to-door insurance salesman, cold calling, yikes. Not a fan. They took this group of people who were going door-to-door selling insurance, and they would go to the door and they would knock, knock, hello, do you know the benefits of insurance? And let me tell you all about it. And, they would do this big, long spiel, and they would try to keep that door open as long as possible, only to eventually get the door slammed shut on them most of the times. So, because they had this long, drawn-out pitch, they could only go to so many doors. And a consultant suggested to them, hey, why don't we go for speed? Why don't we try to go and hit way more doors? And they're like, sure, we're game. What we're doing sucks anyway, right? Give us some ideas. So they changed up the game, and they started going to doors, and they would knock on the door. Someone would answer, and they'd say, you're not looking for insurance, are you? You're not looking for insurance, are you? Think about that. That's all they said. And the person would either say no, or they'd say, well, yeah, actually. So, because they changed it up, they were simply able to go to more doors, and their sales tripled. Their sales increased tremendously. Why? Why is that? It's because they got in front of more people. That is the key. They got in front of more people. They wasted less time. If I had to write one sentence on how to improve your network marketing game, it would be say less to more people. That's what it would be. Say less to more people. So they went for fast disqualification. So let me give you some phrases if you're going to be cold calling. and this is where you probably want to take some notes here, guys. I'm giving you actual phrases that I have used and that have worked like crazy. Okay? These are what I'm calling lack of result addiction phrases. These are phrases that you can use to display your lack of being addicted to the result. Very powerful for you to even embrace that. Because most people, they'll reach out to me and they'll say, Ray, you know, I talked to this guy on the subway and he expressed interest and I followed up with him and he said he was going to watch the presentation, but he didn't. So I followed up a second time and he said that he had time to watch half of it, but then he had something happen. And so now I'm reaching back out to him on this third time. We're supposed to meet up for coffee, but, you know, he didn't show up. Ray, what should I do? Stop spending time on that one prospect. That's what you should do. Say less to more people. So many people, if someone even whiffs the air close to them, it's like, oh my God, ooh, Nelly, we got a live one. You can't be that way. You can't get tied up on every single prospect that sniffs in your direction, or you're going to go crazy. You're going to go nuts. You got to stop it. So here are some phrases that will help you with this. Hey, I may be barking up the wrong tree, but, and let me show you a couple more here. This may or may not be for you. This may or may not be exactly what you're looking for. Okay? These three little simple phrases, what they do is they show that you're not addicted to the result, that you're not overly eager, that you're not telling them how much of a no-brainer it is, how $1 billion opportunity, ground floor, they'd be great at it. You have to at least give off the perception that you don't need them. Let me say that again. You have to at least give off the perception that you don't need them. When you need someone, you are desperate. And nobody wants to sign up with someone desperate. And a class of people that would know exactly what I'm talking about, guys in high school. Guys in high school, do you want to ensure that you don't date any girl? Just be desperate. Just be desperate. Just the energy of desperation, those dates will evade you. You will not have a date. Just be desperate. That's all you got to do. If you want to ensure, you know, I want to make sure that I don't have a date for prom, just be desperate. It'll work 100% of the time. 100% of the time. Be desperate. If you want to completely avoid recruiting anybody, then just be desperate. It'll work 100% of the time. If you come across as desperate, as needy, as you need them for you to do your business, they will not sign up with you and they won't want to be around you. Okay? Lack of eagerness and lack of result addiction combined with speed, key. Let me say it again. Lack of eagerness, lack of result addiction combined with speed is key when I'm talking cold calling. Is that powerful? Is that helpful so far? Just curious. Is that opening you guys up a little bit? Okay. All right. Getting lots of yeses. Good. Very, very good. All right. So let's talk a little bit about offline cold market. Offline cold market. You know, the real world. You know, where you spend the majority of your time. It's actually planet Earth. Out there. It's not behind your computer. Number one thing, and this, all of my training is going to help you with this. You must prevent yourself from saying too much. It's rule number one. So, some of you have seen this. Some of you have not. So I'm going to break it down. We're going to go kind of quick here. But I'd be doing a disservice if I assumed everyone knew what I was talking about. How many of you know what BIC even stands for? B-I-C. How many know? All right. I'm seeing some no's. Perfect. Good. I'm seeing lots of no's. Awesome. And then some of you, of course, have you know it. All right. So let's do it. BIC. BIC stands for break in communication. That's what BIC stands for. Break in communication. It is a real or fabricated. It is a real or fabricated reason why you need to keep your conversation short. You'll see why this is so important, and you'll also see where you may have made mistakes in prospecting strangers in the past. So, do I start with the question, right? Do I start with, do you keep your options open, or you want to make money? You like multiple streams of income? No, I don't start with that. Why? Because it's leaving you too open. You're going in there without a bulletproof vest. This is going into a prospecting meeting wearing a bulletproof vest. This is what this is. Maybe you even got some, Lothlorien armor underneath that is impenetrable. Okay, so you're covered, you're good. Breaking communication. Hey, I have to hop on this conference call, but just curious. Then you ask the question. Now, this is one of my favorite questions. If you don't like it, use your own question. The exactness of the question isn't it actually isn't that important as the BIC. The break in communication is critical. It is absolutely critical. If you're not using it on cold market prospects, you're really, really setting yourself up for a tougher time than you need to. Okay? So BIC, break in communication. Hey, I got to go pick up my kids at the school. I got to go jump on this conference call. I got to hop on a call with my partner. I have to go to a dentist appointment. Whatever. Okay, can be real, can be fabricated. It is something that is going to cause your conversation to be short. What it is really is a preemptive strike at the most feared question in cold market prospecting. Let me say that again. It is a preemptive strike against the most feared question in cold market prospecting. But I'll get to that in a second. All right, so BIC, breaking communication. I got to hop on this conference call. Just curious, would you be at all open to a side project if it didn't interfere with what you're currently doing with blank, real estate, insurance, the grocery store, whatever, okay? Hopefully you've asked them a couple questions. I'm not going to go into the basics of, what questions do you ask to build rapport? Just be a human being, okay? What would a human being do, okay? What would a human being do? They would say, hey, nice hat, or nice shoes, or nice earrings, or hey, you from around here, or oh, I see you got a 49ers jersey on. How's it going with that, right? A human being would just ask them a couple basic questions. There would be no, agenda behind it, okay? I'm not going to go into that. That's for more basic trainings, okay? That's for just read the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, if you're unable to communicate with other humans, okay? And I mean that. I don't mean it weirdly. If you're unable to communicate with other human beings, read the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. We don't have time to cover the basics on this call. We're gonna cover some good stuff though. All right, so pay attention. BIC, break in communication. You have a reason for your conversation to be short. Question. It could be, hey, do you know anyone that would like to have, more energy? Do you know anyone that would like to lose some weight? Do you know anyone that buys makeup? Whatever. There's a bajillion questions that you could ask at this point. And everyone wants to know what's the most effective. Do you want to know what the most effective question is? Whatever question you resonate with the most. See, I can ask this question all day long, and it's not a big deal. But if you can't, then you should pick a different question. Okay? Would you be at all open to a side project if it didn't interfere with what you're currently doing? Okay? Now, 80% to 95% of the time, how are they going to respond? Can anyone tell me? Can anyone tell me what they will respond with? I might just give away a prize. Sherry Brown. Very good. What is it? What is it? About 100 of you, because it's the most feared question. The most feared question in cold market prospecting. It is the one that brings network marketers to their knees. It makes them weep like babies, like tiny little babies. It is the question that turns men into mush, ladies into shrieking messes. The question that destroys the souls of, okay, maybe a little much, right? It's a tough question for most people because most trainers never tell you they're going to ask you that. They send you out into the world and say, good luck, buddy. And you go out there, you get hit with the what is it question, and you literally crumble. You crumble like yesterday's bag of potato chips. Here's why I've weaponized you. I have armed you to the teeth. You have that beautiful, that amazing, shiny even, break in communication. You restate your break in communication. So what that looks like is this. Would you be at all open to a side project that didn't interfere with what you're currently doing? Well, what is it? Oh, man, I so look forward to telling you what it is. Like I mentioned before, I got to jump on this conference call, so unfortunately I can't answer you right now, but I'm real busy. But I promise you, I can call you maybe next Wednesday, maybe next Thursday. Okay? Now, why would I do that? First of all, did you catch how powerful the use of break-in communication was? Did you catch that? Did you catch how you were able to use your shield, your bulletproof, your Kevlar? Did you catch that? Now, how does it sound if I don't say BIC first? If I don't say a break-in communication first, how does it sound? It sounds defensive. If I say, hey, would you be open to a side project to interfere? What is it? Well, I got to jump on this conference call. Okay? When you restate your break-in communication, extremely powerful. Because you're not a mind reader. How could you have possibly known that they would ask you what it is? Who can know that? You're not Dr. Strange, Nostradamus. Come on. Who would possibly know that they would ask what it is? Well, only every network marketer. Every network marketer knows that, but they don't do anything about it. They just sort of, they have their fingers crossed behind their back. Hope they don't ask me what it is. Oh man, please don't ask, 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 please don't ask me what it is. That's their level of business mastery. Fingers crossed behind their back, wishing and praying that they don't ask what it is. Well, why not just address the issue before it's even an issue? Break in communication, question, restate the break in communication when they ask what it is. Notice I didn't say if. See, most of the other trainers out there, they're wishing for you too. They're like, ooh, hope they don't ask them what it is. Oof. I'm just telling you they're gonna. 80 to 95, maybe 97% of people, if you say this, they're going to ask what it is. You set the follow-up. Now, there are two powerful elements to the follow-up, okay? And one is something I came up with, and another is something that I heard from my buddy, Chris Carroll. And I'll actually talk about him a little bit later. But I'm real busy, but I promise you I can call you next Thursday. Now, before we get to next Thursday, because many of you are confused on why we would wait till next Thursday, okay? I'll get to that. Give me a second. Hold your horses here, okay? I promise. Now, let me ask you how you would feel. If I said, hey, if you give me your name and email, or if you give me your name and phone number, I can give you a call. I'll happily give you a call and let you know. Okay, how does that feel versus, hey, tell you what, man, I promise I will call you and let you know the details. Let me get your name and number, and I promise I'll call you back. Who sounds more like they're winning? When I say the word I promise, when I say promise, it looks to me like you are the one winning. Because would I ever promise something that was totally of benefit to me? Like, would I go to my wife and say, I promise I'll let you give me a massage tomorrow? She'd say, yeah, thanks, bud. Mm-hmm. Right, right. But if I say, hey, I promise I'll give you a massage tomorrow, doesn't that make more sense? Okay? When you use the word promise, you are going to shift it just a little bit to where the benefit at least is arguably in their court. Is that powerful? One little word, promise. So most of you have been asking, hey, can I get your name and number and I can pretty please with sugar berries on top give you a call and pitch you my business? Okay, I'm not saying any of you would say it exactly like that, but that's how it sounds. It sounds like it's of benefit to you, not to them. But if you say the word, I promise I'll get you that, awesome thing. I promise I'll buy you a dessert. I promise I'll take you to lunch. I promise I'll give you a massage. It sounds, the word promise is associated with benefit to the person you're saying it to. This is advanced psychology, guys. This is not what you get this isn't your grandmother's network marketing training. This isn't what is taught, okay? This is advanced psychology. And the cool thing is, it's freaking easy. This isn't difficult. Is it difficult to say the word promise? It's not difficult. It's easy. You just have to know why. Why does this stuff work? Okay? Now, a page that I took from one of my buddies, Chris Carroll, one of our former mastermind clients, super sharp dude. He is a beast at prospecting. He is just a master of posture. Master. Just very, very good at posture. I'm pretty good at posture. He's very good at posture. He wants to come across like a doctor. So let me ask you this. If you go to a doctor and you say, hey, I'd like an appointment, and they say, oh, how about in 30 minutes? Might you wonder, is this really a good doctor? Man, they're so open in their schedule that they could talk to me in 30 minutes? I don't know. But if they say to you, ooh, man, we are really booked up, looks like we might be able to do November 22nd. Are you going to etch November 22nd into the side of your desk? Are you going to write it on your palm? Are you going to program it in your iPhone? Because you're thinking, holy crap, they're so busy. The soonest they can get us in is in November. Holy moly. Right? Or whatever, January, December. You know what I mean? If they give you something and it's not today or tomorrow, but it's something in the far future, might that make you realize that they are very busy? Okay? Busy people set dates and they schedule things that are far out. Okay? And I don't mean far out, man. I mean far out, calendar-wise. Now, that doesn't mean that you will wait until next Thursday, because let me ask you the same question. If that same doctor that told you, whatever, November, December, January, February, whatever month they told you, okay? If that same doctor called you the next day and said, hey, I just had something free up on my schedule, we can get you in today, are you going to hop at the chance? Are you going to skip and get in there right away? Are you going to drop everything and say, hey, sorry, kids, I can't pick you up from school, just hitchhike. I got to get to this doctor. Okay? Obviously, you're not going to make your kids hitchhike. Let's not get crazy. But the point that I'm making is you're going to create urgency to get into that appointment. Does that make sense? Is that pretty neat stuff? See, you need to be busy. It's one of the biggest mistakes that network marketers make is they're too damn available. They're too available. Oh, you want to meet tomorrow at 2 o'clock? Sure. Oh, you got to change at 4 o'clock? Fine. Oh, you're 6 o'clock? Sure. Right? You're too available. Stop being so available and start looking busier. Because if you had something that is as great as you're professing, then wouldn't you be busy? Wouldn't people be beating themselves and jumping over bushes and, tackling you for your opportunity if you really had what you think you have? Okay? You have to at least pretend to be really busy. You have to be. Because two reasons. One, it attracts people. Same scenario. The guy, the poor dude in high school that learns he shouldn't be desperate, all of a sudden he starts being unavailable. A little more attractive. A little more attractive. I'm not saying you're going to convert someone that never would have dated you, but a little more attractive. All of a sudden, I didn't see him hanging out the same place. All of a sudden, he's not doing the same. Where'd he go? Right? All of a sudden, not available. Can't hang out with him on Friday. Now, where'd he go? Okay? Non-availability does increase your attraction. It does. In business and in relationships. FYI. You're welcome, guys. Girls get it. Girls get it. They almost all of them get that. Not being available all the time actually makes the heart grow fonder. All right? Guys typically don't get it. We're typically clueless. Okay? Now, I'm not saying you wait till next Thursday. You can still call them the next day and say, I had an opening in my schedule. And I'm going to share with you what does that look like. So hopefully, I think you're seeing that this is helpful. Good stuff. Now, we're going to cover the follow-up. This is what, I don't know, 99% of trainers skip. This is where they would say, now let me ask you this. Have I given you some value and you can go out there and start pulling more numbers just like that? Be honest. Hit me. Have I? Have I told you some ways to pull some numbers like freaking crazy? I could leave you at that. I could say, good luck, guys. Go get those numbers. And you probably would. You probably would go out and get those numbers. And then you would get home and you would look at these numbers and you would kind of ponder. You might scratch your head. You might look at them and you look at them again. And you're like, ooh, that trainer didn't tell me what to say. What do I say? What do I say? Does anyone know how to follow up with cold market prospects? And you Google it, right? You probably find a video of mine, right? So let me talk about the follow-up. It's where most people blow it. So there's two types of follow-ups, and I'm going to cover both because I don't want you a hardcore only prospecting android, okay? I want you to be a real human, okay? Remember like when the little fairy, I'm a real boy, right? I want you to think like you're still human. It is possible to be a network marketer and maintain humanity. It's possible, okay? What do I mean by that? Because I might be stepping on some toes here. It means that you don't have to prospect every soul you ever encounter, okay? It may not be the right opportunity. It may not be the right timing. It may not be whatever. We can still be network marketers and still maintain being a human. Humans don't pitch every single person they see something for sale. That's what humans do. So let's be human, okay? There are going to be meetings, there are going to be times where you aren't going to bring up your business. God forbid, right? Well, I'm going to share with you how to follow up with people just like that, okay? And it's what I do. I'm not going to tell you something like this would be great in theory, guys. You really should do that. I'm going to tell you what I do, okay? And then I'm going to get into what you really want to know. Because even after my humanity speech, you're like, screw it, Ray, I'm going to prospect like crazy. Fine. I'm going to show you how to follow up with people that you did actually prospect, which is different. Okay. So the casual follow-up. Maybe you met someone, you didn't prospect them. I could give you 42 different examples in the last 2 weeks. I met with a friend of mine who runs the Bonita Springs Young Professionals. I was there to simply serve him and answer his questions. I didn't bring up any kind of pitch. I didn't bring up anything, okay? Now, might I talk to him down the road about my opportunity? I might. I might not. I don't know. It's a good connection. I didn't go, he didn't bring it up, and I didn't go for it. There are definitely times where I'm not just pitching my business. I'm there to genuinely listen to them and actually appreciate them and see if I can help them in any way. So met with this guy Brian. He has a marketing company. Offered him some suggestions on product creation and things like that. Let's see. Met with I can keep going. I meet with a lot of people locally that I don't go for the jugular right away and pitch them my opportunity? Well, you still should follow up with them. Here's what I do. I send them a thank you card. Now, this is something I first learned from Bob Berg in a book called Endless Referrals. And I personally, look at this image, isn't this great? You get a card, you get a card. This is a mock-up of a very popular talk show host. I think you know who that is. I use AM cards. Now, some of you may be in a different, deal, and you have cards. Use them, okay? I use AM cards. It's not an MLM. It's 100% brandable to you. I smack I smack a logo on the back of my card that's congruent to what we talked about. So the other day I met with a gentleman from Salesforce. Salesforce is a customer relationship management system, supposedly the biggest in the world. And this guy named Steve, super sharp dude, and we talked about my advice to him on blogging and branding. And so I actually, for his card, we used a logo of the 3-Minute Expert, which is my blogging and branding program. I didn't have a link. It wasn't a pitch, okay, because that's a key with thank you cards, is you should not have a pitch in there, right? But I just sent him a little thank you card. Hey, so cool meeting with you. Thanks so much, okay? That's what I use for this type of follow-up. If you haven't, I know most of my audience actually has, you can actually send one for free at amcards.com/Ray. This presentation is not a pitch for AM cards, but if you don't have a cost and time effective way to send greeting cards, I would highly suggest this. It is not an MLM. We're not even looking for affiliates at this point, but amcards.com/Ray. And hardly anyone does this. It is super fast, it is super cheap, and it really stands out. You wouldn't believe how many people reach out to me and say, hey, got your thank you card. Holy crap. What a cool concept. Man, no one does that. That's super cool. Let me know how I can help you. Do they feel like they should reciprocate to me in some way? Yes, and that's exactly how I want people to feel. I want people that I meet with to think, man, I really should do something cool for Ray. I want me in the back of their head thinking, okay? Now, these are my casual follow-ups. Now, let's get into the prospecting follow-up. Now, why do I say possible? I say possible here because many of you are taught a different way. Some of you are taught that you have to get face-to-face with them. Some of you are taught that you have to get them to a meeting. You have to get them to a home meeting. You got to get them to a restaurant meeting. You got to get them to, whatever, fill in the blank, a webinar, whatever, okay? I say possible because I'm telling you how I do it. You listen to your upline. I'm not, when it comes to the exactness of detail here, then I'm going to suggest, have some flexibility here, all right? But here we go. If you've used the line that I shared with you, that hopefully you still remember, okay, hopefully you're still with me here. I had an unexpected opening in my schedule, and I was able to call you a little earlier than originally promised. Now, how does that sound? See, who's going to call you a little earlier than originally promised? Someone who has something of benefit for you. This is advanced psychology, guys. It's advanced, okay? But it works. It's these little tweaks, these little tiny tweaks. You think it's some big thing. It's these little tweaks, like using the word open instead of interested, using the word promised, little tweaks. Now, what I don't like saying here, and I've heard people say this, I don't like saying I had someone cancel on me and now I have an opening in my schedule. I don't like that because it creates a negative psychological factor in their mind of why would someone cancel? If they have something great, why would they cancel? Okay? And even though that cancellation may have nothing to do with your opportunity, your business, or you, there's still a little negative factor there. Okay? So I like the idea of I had an unexpected opening. I don't like saying I had someone cancel on me, I had some loser not show up. I don't like saying that. I'd rather always be tweaking to make sure I'm coming across as positive. I'd love to know a little more about you. Can you share what's got you excited nowadays? What are you fired up about? Why is this so powerful? Because some of you are like, well, shouldn't you just get to the point and just rip their throats out? Okay, remember, human first, network marketer second. I'd love to know a little more about you. Can you share, what have you been up to? Like, what fires you up? Something like that. And this may build upon whatever you guys talked about when you were initially making the conversation with them. Okay, so this is going to have to be flexible. If you read this right here and you think, oh my God, Ray, I don't know how to communicate like a human, get the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. It will greatly help you. By the way, I just want to let you know let you in on a little secret here. I feel very good at communicating with other human beings. I've read that book 3 times. And I'll probably read it again. It's just one of those things. It's like Think and Grow Rich that I read and I go through every once in a while just to brush up on my skills. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Great book. Talks about motivation, talks a little bit about persuasion in a very, very powerful way. Okay, so if I give you a question and I say, hey, be a little loose with this, guys, and you get super stressed out, then you need to get that book and you need to learn human communication. And please, be coachable. Don't get offended when I say human communication, or else you'll never get anywhere. If you get easily offended, you haven't a shot in hell at being a business builder. You have no chance of creating success in any business, let alone network marketing. So those that get easily offended, those are the wilted flowers. They never make it, ever. You got to toughen up at least a little bit, and you got to be coachable, right? Now, you had mentioned you might be open to the side project I was going to go over. Any particular reason why? Any particular reason why? Or you could say the whole thing here. Any particular reason why you might be open to making some extra money? Now, what's powerful about this is very, very worded on purpose. Might be open. Does that presume too much? Am I being presumptuous? Not at all. See, so many network marketers are way too presumptuous. I see it every 2 hours in my email box and my Facebook messaging. Way too presumptuous. They're drawing way too many assumptions. It isn't good. Okay. You had mentioned you might be open to the side project I was going to go over. Any particular reason why? Now, I'm telling you, I've said this to a lot of people. They've always given me reasons. But sometimes I dig a little more. Well, why? Okay, you said you want to make some more money. Okay, why? Just curious. How come? Why is that important to you? Let them talk. Your best follow-up, all of you, not all of you, most of you are looking for, what do I say? What do I say? What do I say? Listen. Learn to be a better listener. My God. You will change the game if you learn to listen better. You will absolutely change the game. Okay? This is like a consultant. Listen. Let me just ask you, is it harder or easier for you to listen and let them talk? And if one of you says, oh, that's much harder to listen, have you tried it? Have you tried to listen? See, if I program you with some big, long, heavy script that you have to memorize, that's hard. I mean, you can learn it, and you can get better at it, and you can practice, and you can have it down pat, but you'll never make it easier than just listening. Just listening is the easiest thing you can do. And they're going to give you ammunition. They're going to give you ammunition. Now, here's where it may vary. It sounds to me like this might be a fit for you, and you may even want to throw in a because. See, a because would be this would be a very good place for the word because. Because is hypnotic in nature. It's very powerful. They've done studies with the word because. Sounds to me like this might be a fit for you because you mentioned you wanted to, get around like-minded entrepreneurs, and you wanted to, make more money, and you wanted to grow yourself. Well, this might be a fit because of all those reasons, because that's, all the things that we do. but we really won't know for sure until you watch the overview. Are you in front of your computer right now? This is where it's personal preference. You could take them and say, are you in front of your computer right now? Get them in front of a presentation, say, okay, the presentation is 16 minutes. I'm going to call you right back. Okay, I got another call I got to handle. I'm going to call you in 16 minutes. Are you able to watch it right now? And this will determine if it's a fit for you or not. Okay, or you could say, I'm going to send you a link. How soon can you watch this link? There's a couple different ways you can handle this. But the whole point is to let it be their decision that this is a good fit for you. And you can do that with that word because. But you have to draw the association of we'll never know unless you watch the overview. Now let me handle one more objection here before it comes up. I know it will. Well, Ray, what if they ask how much is it? Do you know my answer to that? Are you ready? This is a big deal. I don't have it on the screen, so you're going to have to listen. If they ask me, how much is it? How much does it cost? How much is the investment? I answer 100% of the time. I say, well, it depends. There are actually multiple levels, and it may not even be a fit for you, so it may not be anything. It may not cost you a dime. See, what I've done is I've made it a tough target to nail down, because let me tell you why they're asking it. They're asking to rule it out. So you think it's just a straightforward question, and you say, oh, it's $500. And then they say, ooh, I don't have $500. Well, let me tell you, nobody has $500 to burn. No one. You have to get them in front of the benefits. You have to get them in front of the overview. You have to get them more information before they know how much it is, or else they'll rule it out and know what it is. Very, very, very powerful. Okay?